Hey, this is Mykey Massacre, and you're listening to the Heavy Mental Breakdown Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to Heavy Mental Breakdown, a podcast that breaks down song lyrics with the artist for a more in-depth look behind their meanings. Today we have none other than rock star Mykey Massacre. For all the listeners out there who don't know who Mykey Massacre is, give us a little bit of a summary of who you are, where you're from, and why you're doing what you're doing.
I'm a guitarist, music producer, solo artist from Brooklyn, New York. I've been playing guitar for 22 years now, and I've been using this name, Mykey Massacre, since I was about 15.
It's a great name.
Oh, thank you. I used to play in this band called Tragedy Awaits Us when I was in my late teens, early 20s. Very different style from the music I make now, but that's the name I went by then, so I kind of just kept it when I kind of went solo and started doing my solo career.
And how long have you been doing solo work for?
2018 is when I started my self-production journey, when I started to work as a self-producing my own material, recording from my home, not having to rely on other people anymore to record. I started doing that around 2018. The original motive and the original goal was just strictly to make like instrumental stock music to be used in like backgrounds for commercials or, you know, NFL Red Zone, that cool, badass, cheesy music they play in the background. But then just knowing how I am and knowing just the overly ambitiously creative person I am, the itch happened, and I just started writing more original material with lyrics, vocals, and more than just your standard stock production music.
I'm sure you're really happy you did that.
Yeah. Well, yes and no. But that'll get into more of the mental part of it. But,
Gotcha.
So like prior to that, everything I did was with my old band Tragedy Awaits Us. The last thing I did with them was in 2015. It was a 6-song EP that I wrote everything for. I self-funded it. I produced it. But the only difference between that and this is I didn't record all the instruments. I had my brother did vocals, I had my friend at the time who did vocals, and I had to hire a session drummer. But I did everything else. But meeting that session drummer back in late 2014 was kind of opened the realm for me to try and offer my services as a session guitarist. So that experience kind of like was like a turning point for me. But then also my friend, who lived about a mile from me at the time, he recorded that album, that Tragedy Awaits Us album with me, and I spent a lot of times, late nights in the studio with him, just watching him work and producing it with him, and that's when he kind of planted the seeds to push me to become a solo music producer, that was also part of a turning point. So that opened the realm where it was possible. Now that technology got better, it became possible for me to completely record everything myself and not have to rely on anybody or not have to hire a session, even though it's ironic because I'm looking to get hired as a session guitarist, but my goal for my own music is to do everything myself and not have to outsource to other people. So it's a little ironic, but that I started doing around 2018, and then around 2021 is when I started to just shift a little bit to where I was going to be strictly, like I had mentioned a few minutes ago, I was going to be strictly background, under the hood guy, make stock music for background. That's when I started to shift to, you know what, I want to do that, but I also have some original ideas that I want to make into songs again, like I did 10 years ago with Tragedy Awaits Us, but I want to do it under Mykey Massacre now. And that's when I started recording basically a lot of the materials you'll see online. All of those songs that kind of started around like 2020, 2021, right around that early pandemic period. And that's when I started to, I don't want to say shift from Mykey Massacre producer to Mykey Massacre solo artist. That's when I kind of incorporated Mykey Massacre solo artist in addition to Mykey Massacre solo producer.
Side question, do you feel that since you kind of started your solo journey during the pandemic, do you think that the pandemic actually inspired you in a way?
100%. 100%. I use that as an opportunity to educate myself on being a better audio engineer, learning how to mix and all of that. Because about a year into this, around 2019, I had compiled 14 instrumental tracks that I shopped around to all these different stock libraries, and I got rejected by every single one of them. And that was a humbling moment, but that was a huge turning point moment for me, because that's what made me realize that the songs were good, the compositions were good, but the way they were presented, the quality was just not up to standard, and I had a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
So that happened right on the outskirts of the pandemic. So then once the pandemic became full-fledged, I used all of that downtime opportunity to basically self-educate myself.
That's great.
I joined a few music programs, mentorship programs. They helped me mix and then market myself and all of that. And so that was a silver lining during a very dark time.
Absolutely. As tragic as everything was, like you said, the silver lining from it. I think a lot of us were able to find ourselves, or at least find something that pushed us to, okay, I can't just sit here all day. I have to do something. Now, what is that going to do? And now, years later, we're still seeing the effects of that. And not everything is positive, of course, with everybody, but a lot of it is. And I think it's great that you were able to kind of, distant yourself mentally from all the terror and all the scariness of the world at the time and focus on the art, because I think that that's what true artists do.
Yeah.
And I think some of the greatest art, or the greatest art, comes from times like that, and not knowing what to do and being scared and confused and create. And that's what you're doing. And so I got a lot of respect for that, man. That's great.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. And I agree with that. I'm at my creative best when I'm at my mentally worst.
Oh, for sure. I know a lot of people who are like that, and
yeah, dude.
I definitely I'm like that as well. I feel like if I'm not depressed, or I'm not, in kind of a dark place, I feel like my art isn't.
It's going to suffer.
Yeah. Exactly.
You need to suffer for your art to thrive, right?
Exactly. It's a weird balancing act.
Yeah, it's very weird. Like, some people thrive when good things are happening, but I've never written a happy song in my life, because I just don't get motivated to do anything creative when I'm happy, which is kind of a sad and sick thing, but that's just not how I operate, you know what I mean? Yeah. But a lot of people are like that, especially a lot of people in my world, in the darker music, the heavier music world.
Yeah.
You get motivated when things are shit, and that's our outlet. It's our vessel of expression.
So looking at the name of the song that we are going to be breaking down with you, it's called Struggle City.
That's right. The song is basically about my struggle with OCD, but more specifically as it pertains to perfectionism, control, and just constant unwanted intrusive thoughts, and not being able to shake them. And it's usually about things that are either out of my control, or something that's not going right that I need to make right, or something, and it just festers in me. To the point where it's could be classified as a mental disorder. Like, a lot of times when people think OCD, they think, if I don't flick the light switch 100 times, someone's gonna die, or something like that. Mine is more grounded in I don't know,
your perfectionism,
yeah, exactly.
I guess it kind of goes back to that. For example, if you're writing a guitar riff, and it's you play it over and over and over again until it sounds right. You switch up the chords, you switch up anything else. But so is that maybe what you're talking about as far as
a good example I could think of as it relates to music is, let's say I'm working on a song, and was really happy about the process of doing it, but then I listened back to it and I wasn't thrilled with listening back, whether it be the mix didn't sound great, for example. And let's say it's close to midnight and the mix didn't sound right, and I'm burnt out and tired. I would be all right, I have to get back to this tomorrow. But I would literally spend all night obsessing over it. I would stay up all night in bed just thinking about it, and not to a normal degree, to the degree where it would just consume me.
I get that 100%, man. I do that all the time.
It is quite common for a lot of people, though. That's the thing. That's why I feel like this song could be relatable, because it's something that's pretty intense. It's an intense emotion, but it's also a thing that is very common amongst people. So it's not like it's uncommon what I'm dealing with. Like it's intense, but it's also very common. A lot of people could relate to it. Anyway, so the fun story about it, I was on a call one morning with my therapist, and this was again during the time where we did things virtually. And we were talking. I don't remember exactly what she said, but I was in the process of writing the song, and pretty much everything was done. The lyrics were done for the most part. The music was all done, but I didn't have a title. And I was like, I gotta think of a title, and I gotta finish these lyrics and think of a title simultaneously. And then she mentioned something, and she was like, about how if I don't choose to change my thinking habits, or I don't choose to make some kind of change in my life, I'm going to continuously find myself in Struggle City. And she said those words, and then at that moment, the light bulb went off. I got out the notepad, and I wrote it down right here.
Wrote it down, not going to forget that one.
Right there. And I wound up incorporating that into the lyrics, and then it became the song title, and the rest was history. And I was like, that was the moment. That was the exact moment right there. She said it. My therapist said it.
And this is a great example of why you get a therapist to help you out with song title names.
There you go. That's the whole reason it was worth it. Yeah. It was all worth it for that, like $600 an hour or whatever it was.
All right, this is Mykey Massacre's song, Struggle City. Let's break it down. All right, I'm stopping there already. First off, hold on. Those guitar skills, man, are incredible. I love that. That sounds so cool. Like, it just sounds like you're like I can totally just see you just somewhere, just like shredding. Your hair's kind of flying. You're just shredding, having the time of your life, recording this song. Am I right or am I wrong?
Recording it, no. Again, the OCD. Recording it, I'm very, very structured, very meticulous with it. I'm sitting in this chair. It's not a free-flowing thing. It's not fun.
Okay, I just needed to pause it and show appreciation for those skills real quick.
Well, thank you. That means a lot to me. I appreciate that, man.
All right, that is verse 1 of Struggle City. Let's break down these lyrics a little bit. Don't fight, just let it go.
All right, so all those gang vocals, those shouts, don't fight, just let it go. That's supposed to be my head talking to me. It's supposed to be my inner conscience. And it's basically the more practical part of my mind saying, don't constantly hold on to things. Sometimes you need to just release things to the universe and just let them flow and not constantly try and take control of everything. And some things are out of your control, and you need to be okay with that. You don't need to fight everything, and you just need to let it go.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it goes back to the OCD thing, where it's like, okay, at some point you just have to get it out. It's never going to be perfect. The mixing will be perfect. There might be a drum that's kind of offbeat, or like a guitar riff where you're like, oh, well, maybe if I tried this or that. Nothing will ever be perfect, and at some point you just have to let it go and put the art out there. So
exactly.
I love that.
Yep. There you go. Yeah, art is never finished, only abandoned.
There you go.
That's a quote that I love.
Don't fight, just let it go. These thoughts consuming my whole world.
Yeah, that one's kind of self-explanatory. It's the intrusive thoughts. They're taking over my mind. So, and the album cover, if you look at those shadowy figures in the background, those are all my intrusive thoughts coming after me.
Gotcha.
And I'm trapped behind that gate of that Struggle City in the background. I'm trapped in that city.
Okay.
I cannot overcome this mental illness, and I'm trapped behind that fence.
This hole dug on my own. I'm losing grip. Can't keep control.
A lot of the times, the things I obsess over are self-inflicted. Things that I don't have to get so deep in the hole over these things about these thoughts, these ideas, but I do. And a lot of the times I kind of almost feel like a comfort there because that's what I'm used to.
Yeah.
and I'm losing script.
There's a lyric that I know. I'm forgetting the artist right now, but I believe the lyric is, "I don't know who I would be if I was happy."
Ooh. Yeah.
You know what? That's NF, the rapper NF.
Well,
A song called Happy, and he's all about mental health, and the whole song is just, who is this person? I don't know who that, I don't even know what that looks like for me. And so that kind of just reminded me of what you said right now.
Yeah, dude. Straight up. I mean, it's such a simple phrase, but I agree. I agree with that.
This hole dug on my own. Can't lose my hold. It'll hurt my soul. That's kind of deep, man.
Yeah, so basically, it's almost like a sense of a stubbornness to things. Like, sometimes you need to know, you need to kind of just let go of things. You need to let go of certain things outside of your control. You need to let go of certain people, certain relationships, certain concepts, or whatever. And there's just sometimes that block, and it just, you know what I mean? Like, you can physically do it, but your mind is still going to think about it. And that's where the whole struggle is. Like, you can physically stop doing something, or you can physically choose to, you know, if I'm having a hard time, you know, and my guitar's, I'm not playing guitar well for the day, and it's, I don't know why, I could physically put the guitar down and be like, I need to come back to this later. But I'm still going to think about, why am I playing so poorly? So even though I'm physically not doing it, I'm still thinking about it.
All right, that is the end of that first verse, and let's go into the chorus. That guitar, though. Anyway, so the lyrics there were, control is what I need. The only way I can succeed. Gotta have my finger on the pulse. Through struggle city, I walk alone. So control. So is that kind of going back to your OCD, where you need to have control over literally everything that you're doing?
Everything that I care about, everything that means a lot to me. I need to have some sense of control over it.
And you feel that's the only way you can succeed? And
I feel like it's the only way I can be in a mentally stable place. And if things are out of my control, or things are out of whack, or there's just something, like, sometimes I almost feel it in the back of my head.
Yeah.
You know, there's something's not right, then I'm all out of sorts. And I have very, very difficult time being able to accomplish anything else, because I'm so focused on this thing that's out of my control, this thing's that's not right, or as I see it as not being right, I need to fix it.
Gotta have my finger on the pulse. What is the pulse?
Basically, I need to have control over things. Things need to be
Gotcha.
Within my control.
It's basically how you breathe. It's what keeps you going. That's what keeps the pulse going, right? It's what keeps things going. It's like, I need to take care of this, I need to take care of that.
Exactly.
So my finger on the pulse is, I'm kind of ready at any time. I need to tackle everything that comes my way.
Exactly. I need to address it immediately. If I'm getting an email, I need to tend to that email right away. And if I don't tend to that email right away, especially if it's an important email, then I'm just not going to be all right.
Through struggle city, I walk alone. And I wanted to point out the alone. That sounds like a place, a struggle city, it sounds like a place that you don't want to go to. You know,
no.
You don't want to be there. And you talk about being there alone. Do you feel that you would walk alone in struggle city, or is everyday life kind of struggle city for you?
Well, yeah, it is. And the worst part about it, though, is I've kind of like isolated and alone on an island in terms of things like this. I mean, everyone who suffers from mental illness kind of feels that way as it pertains to their mental illness. So, you know, I kind of feel like all alone on this island about, you know, dealing with these intrusive thoughts about these very specific things. You know, and obviously the examples I'm giving you are, I'm trying not to give you the deeper examples, just, you know, because it's, again, like you had just mentioned, it's a lot more personal things. So I'm trying to do like the more surface level things that I'm more comfortable with talking about, like, you know, as it pertains to music, or as it pertains to, but, you know, a lot of the times it's much more significant things than that.
let it go. Rejection all around me. This hole dug on my own. With those built up inside me.
Don't fight, just let it go. This hole dug on my own. Don't fight, just let it go. This time you say rejection all around me. This hole dug on my own. Bad thoughts built up inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
So rejection all around me. Where did you find the inspiration for that lyric?
Just being rejected by people for a myriad of different things, whether it be like I had mentioned when I sent out my music to all of those stock libraries those many years ago, and they all turned me down. That was a main triggering thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet.
That's what led a lot of positive and production came out of it, but it was at the cost of a lot of obsession. You know what I mean? Because when I get in my OCD episodes, as I call them, I'm very productive, but it's at the cost of a lot of quality of life.
Yeah.
So like I was like determined, and I was like, oh my God, I have to make this right. I got rejected by all these libraries. I have to make this right. These companies think I'm terrible. I can't be terrible. I have to fix this. I have to fix this. I have to fix this. And then I, kind of rabbit holed from there. A lot of good came out of it, but it was also at the cost of a lot of badness up there. So
yeah, but
that's just an example.
Yeah, but I feel a lot of bad happens to a lot of people that you can't make sense of it sometimes, and sometimes there is a meaning, sometimes there's just not. And I feel that the best way to counteract that feeling of rejection, because everybody goes through rejection in their life, but I feel one of the best ways to deal with rejection and deal with those thoughts is to use it for your art. And that's what you're doing. And a lot of people don't have an outlet. They don't have something that they can go and use it and be like, okay, this is a rejection for me. I'm going to go and take it out on my guitar today. And I'm going to take it out on the notepad today. And I feel that that's a great strength that you have as a person and as an artist, that you can do that.
Well, it's actually kind of ironic, though, because, yes, but then imagine if I get rejected for a bunch of things and then I wrote a song about it, and then I send that song out and that song gets rejected. Something like that. So at the time of writing those lyrics, I was dealing with a lot of different rejections from different aspects of life. So it was a lot of compounding things, and it all kind of happened at once. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like one isolated thing. It was a whole bunch of different things. And, sometimes when things kind of come at you from all different directions all at once, from totally unrelated aspects of life, it's like, what the hell's going on? It's like you almost just like, a string of bad luck, and it just, it sucks. But the way I think and the way I view things, it makes it kind of like 10 times worse. Because a lot of times I take it personally. Even if it's not, I take it personally.
Yeah.
I can't help it. I just do.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is.
We don't know any other world except our own. So when things aren't going right in it, it's what did I do wrong? And it could have absolutely nothing to do with us. Who knows what the person who rejected a song, who knows what their day was like? And maybe they were just in a bad mood. Maybe it had nothing to even do with anything you were doing. And it's always great to try to balance out some of the negativity with looking at other sides of things and just keep pushing and just keep trying to get better, which is what you did.
Thank you.
And so that's great.
Just let it go. You're feeling creeping up on me. This hole dug on my own. This cycle I'm going to repeat. Don't fight. Just let it go. Gonna get my head out of the clouds. This hole dug on my own. Then it fell into the control.
Don't fight. Just let it go. I feel them creeping up on me.
Those intrusive thoughts. Those intrusive thoughts. Yeah, those little guys with the red eyes behind me. Those are all my intrusive thoughts. They're creeping up on me. I know it. It's happening. Uh-oh. Here we go.
Oh, here it comes again.
Brace yourself. Fasten your seatbelt.
Yeah. This hole dug on my own. This cycle I'm doomed to repeat.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that one is kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah.
It's basically just... the cycle's just going to continue.
Yeah, it's just a repeating cycle that just it just goes over and over again. And it feels comfortable. to us, and we feel like if we weren't going through that, who the hell would we be if it wasn't this? And when things are good, I'm pretty sure, when speaking for myself, sometimes when I feel that things are going too good, I start to get anxious. I'm like, okay, something is going to happen.
Something bad needs to happen to balance this out.
Exactly. Things are going too good. If something doesn't happen, I'm going to sabotage something on my own, and something wrong will go, and then I feel like, oh, something bad was bound to happen anyway. And so when it says the cycle, I'm doomed to repeat, man, I get that way more than you can understand, and I know a lot of artists and just a lot of people in general feel that too, and it's deep, but it's really real, and it's and yeah, it's something that a lot of people go through, and it's tough.
The only way I can succeed, gotta have my finger on the pulse in struggle city. I've been
Control is what I need. The only way I can succeed. Gotta have my finger on the pulse. In Struggle City, I feel at home.
There you go.
Yeah, this place in my head, this thing that I'm going through, it just feels so normal to me, and it just feels like this is who I am. And if I'm not there, I don't know where I am. I don't know who I am. I don't know. Yep. It's your safe spot almost, in a sick and twisted way. That darkness, that struggle is home.
It feels normal.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. I love that obsessed.
Yeah, so that's all my intrusive thoughts. Making sure to pan it.
Exactly. I hear it panning in my headphones right now, and it's funny, when I first heard that, I thought that wasn't part of the music. I was like, what was that? What was that?
That's 16 different vocal tracks. 16 different vocal tracks, basically.
I like that a lot.
Oh yeah, oh man, I should have isolated and sent you the isolated track. It's kind of cool. I'm doing it like a bunch of different times, and they're compounding and overlapping, and I'm just...
Yeah.
This is the mic I used to record, by the way, so I'm just doing obsessed. But it's all on different tracks. It's not just me doing it in one go. So that
I think the fact that you panned that to make it seem like it's all these different voices coming from different areas, I think that ties basically everything in together.
Thank you.
And that word too, obsessed, because we not only do we obsess about things that are just going on in our life and problems and everything, but we're obsessed with the struggle, because that's part of our identity. If this song wasn't called Struggle City, I think another great title would have been Obsessed.
Yeah, so yeah, pretty much. I appreciate you actually noticing and appreciating that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's something that I was very methodical about, and with the panning and everything, and I'm just
and it makes it more personal too. It makes it feel like, yes, like this world, like you live in this world, and so to be able to pull the technical things into it too, not just song lyrics, but how do I mix this? How do I record this to also make it feel that I'm in this struggle city? Exactly. And it all kind of comes together here in this moment, which I think is awesome, man. I think it's great.
Thank you.
Obsessed with what I do. Obsessed with me and you. Obsessed with she and him. Obsessed about everything. Obsessed with how I breathe. Obsessed with what I eat. Obsessed with what I say. Obsessed eternally.
As much as I want to hear that shredding, I got to go to these lyrics real quick. All right, so obsessed with, and then you list of things. You have a list of things that you're obsessed with. What I do with me and you, obsessed with she and him, obsessed about everything, obsessed with how I breathe, what I eat, what I say, eternally. How do you pick and choose what you mentioned in this song? Are these kind of the top of the list things for you? Is it what you're feeling in the moment?
Both. So it was what I was feeling at the time, and those are usually the top of the list things of the things that I go in deep on when it's with the obsessing. Me and you, that could be me and anybody, my relationship with anybody. Yeah. I have this tendency of constantly being worried about someone's opinion of me, their perception of me, worried that I'm going to disappoint them, or I'm going to do something that's going to make them hate me, or just assume they're going to hate me. Constantly obsessing over my relationship with somebody, especially somebody like I don't know as well.
How I breathe?
Yeah, so that's actually something I'm actually kind of dealing with right now. I'm trying my best to keep it under control. I apologize, but I have breathing issues. It's linked heavily to my anxiety. I'm constantly taking deep breaths. A lot of people perceive it as yawning, but I'm not. I'm just trying to take a deep breath like I'm trying to do now. And it's actually something that I struggle with mightily. One point, actually, it got so bad during the pandemic. That's more specifically, I think, what that lyric was about. It's something that I've been dealing with for many years now, but during the height of the pandemic, like spring of 2020, I was having such difficulty breathing because of my anxiety. I was worrying that it was a symptom of COVID. Because, this is when we were just finding out the symptoms of COVID. So I was like, I'm having breathing issues. Do I have COVID? But I'm not showing any other issues. Is it possible just to have the breathing issues, the respiratory issues, without the fever, without this, without that? So I almost convinced myself that I had it, but it turns out I was just in such a heightened state of anxiety that it was, and it was bad. It was like I was, I'm not exaggerating when I say that not a second in a day went by where I wasn't monitoring my breathing. Now it's something that I still deal with like quite a lot throughout the day. Again, like it's happening to me right now. I'm just trying my best to keep it together. Hopefully my face doesn't turn red because but it's bad.
What has helped with that? Just kind of breathing exercises?
No, they make it worse because they make me concentrate on my breathing. I hate when people like take a deep breath. That makes me concentrate, and that makes me more anxious. The best thing is literally to just do something that takes my mind off of it. To obsess. So basically, I need to shift my obsession to something else. So I constantly have to be obsessing over something. I just need to shift it.
Obsessed with what I eat?
Yeah, so that's another one that's kind of personal, but I'm okay to talk about this one. So when I was younger, I was an obese child. At one point, I weighed 300 pounds. So I've struggled with eating my whole life. I guess you could even say I have an eating disorder, to the point where sometimes I binge eat and then sometimes I don't. And anytime I eat anything, I'm monitoring it, and I'm like, did I eat too much? Like, even just happened before I had dinner, and it was pretty much all I had today. And in the back of my head right now, I'm like thinking, I ate too much. I shouldn't have eaten that much. I should have had maybe 2 less spoonfuls. Why'd I have those 2 extra spoonfuls?
Do you ever feel that when it comes to eating that, oh my God, I just ate this thing and it was this amount of calories, it was this big, and
I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm not going to fit into my clothes?
Exactly, exactly.
Yes, all the time.
Yeah, because you're worried about going back to that place that you were before where you weren't comfortable.
Yes, and that's one of the top of my list obsessions.
Well, you look great.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it, man.
And good for you for, realizing that, okay, well, maybe I'm a little heavier than I should be. Maybe my eating hasn't been the best. And obviously you have demolished that thought and that image of yourself. And now you're in shape and you're rocking out on stage with a guitar in your hand. Like, what would have thought when you were in your kind of worst mindset when it came to food and weight, and seeing yourself now, like, how would you have even thought about that in your head, looking forward years later? And like, wouldn't you be pretty proud of yourself right now?
Yeah, I guess you could say so. The only problem is
you should be. You should.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. But the thing is, how I lost the weight wasn't necessarily the best. It wasn't planned. It just
Yeah, I mean, sometimes things don't always go exactly as planned, but you're here now. You at least look healthy to me, and
I appreciate
you should definitely be proud of yourself for being able to knock that off. And
Thank you.
It's easy, because I actually myself was overweight tremendously at one point as well, and I feel sometimes, especially we live in Brooklyn, New York, and there's pizza everywhere, and it's like I eat a slice of pizza and then I'm running home like, oh my God, how much weight did I just put on right
now? Yep, there you go, man. There you go. And this kind of goes to my my all or nothing mindset. Sometimes if I feel like I do eat something bad, my mentality shifts where I'm like, oh well, the floodgates are open. I mean, I might as well continue eating. I mean, I already did this much damage. Right. What does it matter if I eat it more? What does it matter? I already, you know what I mean? That's a big problem of mine. That's usually where the binging comes in. It usually starts with like eating 1 or 2 bad things, and then my mind is like, well, You might as well have all of it. I mean, you already did the damage.
Yeah.
Go ahead, do more. See, that's the problem of living in that black and white mindset. My whole struggle in life has been finding a happy medium with things. I'm always all or nothing.
Yeah.
But life is all about moderation,
the
medium,
balance,
mid-ground, the balance, and I have none of that. It's literally all or nothing, and that's been one of the biggest things I'm trying very hard nowadays, because now that I'm a little bit more aware of it, to work on. It's very tough though. It's very tough because you spend your whole life just knowing all or nothing, having to find that medium area, and who's to say what that mid-ground area is,
Sure. And I'm going to tell you, when you said I see things in black and white, this or that, I seriously got chills, because that is something that I dealt with for many years. It's this or that. You're either with me or you're against me. I love this movie or I hate this movie. I love this band or I hate this band. And I've always been like this. Or if you're my friend and now you're saying these bad things about me, you're not on my team anymore. You're not my friend anymore. Now I can't talk to you. And I struggle with that. I still struggle with that. And one thing that I have done in my life that has helped tremendously is realizing that there does need to be that balance. There is a middle ground between that black and that white. And what is it? And there is no answer for what it is. However, the way that I have found that works for me to work through it is the now. It's what is happening in this exact moment, living in the moment. And meditation for me has changed my life. That I can't even explain. Meditation has brought me from black and white, up and down, spinning in circles, to be just, okay, I may be here right now. Everything's okay. I'm breathing. And maybe that person, that friend who, wronged me or said something mean, maybe he's not thinking in his head, oh my God, I hate that guy, I don't want to talk to him ever again, because that's where my mind will go. Sometimes it's just, okay, maybe he was having a bad day. This talk was over text, and so who knows what that tone was. And there's all these things, there's all these things that, and it starts to snowball in your head, and it's one thing leads to another, and a simple fight over, you drank my beer, now I hate you, has led to, he doesn't want to be my friend anymore, or now I can't go to the gym because he goes at this time, and like, my mind does that, man.
There you go. Yeah, you know what it's like. There you go.
It does that. But since introducing meditation into my life, it's brought me to, okay, let me sit with this thought. I'm not trying to sit and think about my life and my goals and career. Let me just sit with this one thought that affected me, and let me look at every single possible way that I could have misinterpreted this, or a way to just to see it differently. I'm not at all trying to tell you to meditate or do any of this, but it has helped me. And when you said that, it just sparked that. Sure. when I was going through that. And we all deal and cope in our own way.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's keep listening to the song, because I want to hear some more guitar riffs and some more shredding.
I think it should be coming up right about now, actually.
Perfect.
Here you go.
This song is just a non-stop banger, dude. Seriously.
I'll just hand my life over to you.
What else am I supposed to do? I guess I'll just hand my life over to you. Who is you?
So this is actually the best story of all the lyrics in the entire song.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
So remember I told you I was having a session with my therapist when she was talking about the struggle city, and that's when I wrote that very same therapist, one of our sessions. I was in a real bad spot. I was having a bad day, and we were having a session, and I don't remember exactly what she said, but I literally said, what else am I supposed to do? I guess I'll just hand my life over to you.
Oh.
That's an exact
quote that you said to your therapist.
I didn't say it the way I sung it. I wasn't in
Sure.
an aggressive way.
You weren't screaming at her?
No, at least I don't think so. Maybe I did. I don't remember, to
Maybe.
be honest. It was about 3-4 years ago at this point. But but I do remember I said that, and I was like, oh, man. And that was like the final touch of the lyrics. Because you notice like that's at the end. It's almost like it was like an ad-libbed thing. You know what I mean? Like everything was pretty much done at that point, except that. I threw that in. I was like, when it came time to record the vocals for it, I was like, I'm going to throw that in. Because I said that just like a few days ago to my therapist. So I'm gonna.
You know, I feel anybody that puts a music out or any art, just putting something out to the world. This is something that I created. Here you go. I feel that is so hard to do. But when you are putting out a song like this, that is just so deep. It's so emotional. Literally every single lyric is about something that you've struggled with in your life. How did you feel putting this song out?
I felt very, I don't want to say rejuvenated, I don't want to say accomplished, but I felt
a sense of release, maybe.
Yeah, this was almost like OCD is a real thing. It's an often parodied and often overlooked mental disorder, and it's a lot of times not perceived the way it is. About, like what I said, the light switch or making sure something is clean and spotless. It's literally just unwanted, intrusive thoughts penetrating your brain. Doesn't matter what the thought is about, but the thing is you just can't shake it at all. And this was my message about that. That this is a very less Hollywood take on OCD.
The whole reason why I started this podcast is because I think that music is an amazing outlet for people to be able to express their thoughts in this way. I feel a lot of people can take it out on, other avenues and, drugs or alcohol or, whatever it may be. But I feel that art and putting it out in the world and really putting your blood, sweat, and tears literally into a song not only can heal you in a way, but also can help people feel that, hey, I feel this too, and I know exactly what he's talking about, because just I'm one person and I listen to the song and I'm like, yep, I relate to that, yep, I relate to that, I relate to that, and it makes me feel more human. It makes me feel, okay, maybe this pressure that I'm putting on myself, maybe I'm not as crazy as I think in my head. Maybe I am a little bit normal, or you know what, maybe I am just human after all. When it comes to artists using their platforms for mental health, what is your view on that? And is that one of the goals that you wanted to achieve by writing your own music, is getting out some of your own thoughts, or did that kind of just come naturally?
Yeah, so well, first of all, I couldn't have said it better myself. A lot of the things you said. No, the relatable aspect is sometimes what makes music so great and so captivating. So a lot of people tend to get moved by lyrics. I get moved more so by music. I could get moved by an instrumental track, completely instrumental track. That's just how I am. I'm a composer first, I guess, lyricist second, or whatever, which is part of why I don't write that many songs. Like, I have a ton of instrumental songs, and then I'd say about maybe like a third of the music I make has vocals in it, and the other like 2/3 are instrumentals. So if I'm writing a song with lyrics, it definitely has to be something that's resonating with me deeply, that makes it worth writing a song about. Like, I could write 100 songs about this, but like then it's going to mitigate this song and it's not going to make it as special.
Right.
I have another song that I released last spring called Things Are Bad. It's kind of self-explanatory. It's a song just about, a nihilistic view on the world and just depression and all that, which Struggle City can be kind of relate to as well. But Struggle City is a lot more niche though. It's my problems with obsession and perfectionism, which then ties in to my nihilistic view and my depressed view of everything. So it's almost like just a hyper niche take on an umbrella of what a lot of my songwriting is about. This kind of music. So
okay.
Again, like my lyrics, I've never. One time, I was collaborating with a homie of mine. I have a song actually on Spotify. It's called "Musician on a Mission." It's a collaboration with him. It's very different from my style of music.
I like that name.
Well, that's actually so. The
Yeah,
program
that's
I was in, was called "Musician on a Mission." So the song title is it's an homage to that music program that helped me grow my career, and it helped me connect with a lot of people, including the guy I collaborated with. We met in that program, so that's why it's called that. But he basically challenged me to create more uplifting lyrics, which I did, but it just wasn't me. It just doesn't feel natural to me. Like, I'm not writing lyrics unless I'm upset about something, because if I'm not upset about anything, I have nothing to write about.
Yeah.
You know, my moniker is my name is Mykey Massacre, and I like to remind people about the darker side of things. And I have the name Mykey Massacre, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to write a song about puppies, even though I fucking love puppies. I'm not going to write a song about it. Like,
Right.
I'm going to write a song about something that's upsetting me, because that's my outlet. Like we've been talking about this whole podcast. Like, my creative outlet is something inside of me is upsetting me, and I need to get it out there. And music is my vessel. And that's why I write these songs that are... which is not, you know, it's not that most people, at least in the heavy music world, that's how they operate.
Yeah.
Just as I do. So it's not like I'm doing anything unique or special for that matter. It's just a healthy way of dealing with unhealthy thoughts or reactions or whatever. But
yeah, that's a great way to put it. This might be a difficult question. However, I think that you have a great answer, whether you might know it or not. For anybody who might be listening, has never recorded a song, has never really picked up an instrument, but has been inspired by your story, has been inspired by listening to this podcast, what advice would you give somebody who wants to use creating music as their source of therapy to be able to release those emotions?
Don't lose that initial heart. That first initial instinct is the right one. That's the one to go with. That first thought, that first message, that first idea is the way to go with, because that's the most raw and natural one. And it's easy to get caught up in the self-doubt. Is this really going to be a good song? Is this something that really should be worth recording? That's going to happen. It's natural. But always go back to that very first moment when you're like, I want to write a song about this. And always try and go back to that initial first thought, first reaction of when you spark the idea that you want to create something. And that's what you need to let be your beacon to push you forward.
What, to you, when you are doing this, what is that first step?
So, like I said before, I'm a composer first before anything. So my first step is just coming up with a guitar riff or playing something on my guitar that sounds good. Okay, so the very first step is hearing a song that I like that inspires me.
So step one is grabbing inspiration.
Grabbing inspiration, yeah. So usually I hear a song and I'm like, oh my God, this is great. I have to create something like this now. I will not be okay unless I create a song with a similar vibe to this. Then I come up with an idea on the guitar, or I'll have riffs that I've had for years that were just, you know, in the bank, and I was like, okay, this riff would be good. And then I start elaborating on that, and then usually around this time I'll start to come up with basic idea for lyrics or something that's bothering me or afflicting me at the time, and then I'll start write the lyric aspect of it, and I will come up with an idea, and then I'll try and write the lyrics to fit into the music.
I think the most important thing is to just start. You know, like there doesn't have to be, just because that's how you do it, which is a great way, that doesn't mean that's how everybody has to do it. There really is no right or wrong way. It can start with...
No, that's the beautiful part about it, is everyone has their own way of doing it. A lot of people write the lyrics first and then write the music to that.
But
with the melody.
Yeah.
Without any lyrics, they're just humming a vocal melody, and then they'll create music to that and lyrics to the vocal melody. And I've done different ways. I've done all of the above. My main way that's been since I was a teenager is usually start with music first. But the best part about it, excuse me, now don't get me wrong, I hate recording. It's not fun. I don't like it. Sometimes playing guitar is not even fun, especially recording guitar. It can be very stressful because, again, the perfectionism, I have to get the best take. I have to make sure this sounds perfect. I can't give a product to the world and give anybody any opportunity to knock it. So there can't be any stray notes. Nothing could be off time. Vocals got to be pitched, in pitch. Everything's, I can't give that. So all of that is not fun. It's a stressor. But there's this moment when the song is coming together in my head. And I'm starting to build it. And I'm like, oh man, this element would be great. I'm going to incorporate this element into it. Whether it be the obsessed coming from the different directions. Or, I have an instrumental song called High Speed Chase. I added a police siren in it. I was like, those little magical moments that start out as thoughts. That's the part that makes it all worth it. That's the part that I enjoy the most. It's the creative part. And those little tidbits that just take it to that next level. I can't describe it. It's like there's nothing like it, and that's what keeps me doing what I do. Because with each song there comes that magical moment. Usually it's and oftentimes it's in my head.
Yeah.
It's like, and a lot of times it's unconventional things. I have an instrumental track that I bash my foot into my washing machine. I put this microphone there and recorded it, and it's supposed to simulate like thunder. Yeah. Boom, boom. It's things like that make the process fun, because it's being creative in any ways that you can, and that's the key word. That's the key word when it comes to all of this. It's creativity, creating.
One thing that I want to point out that made me smile is, we're talking about a lot of mental health stuff and OCD and what you're dealing with and how dark it could be, how you struggle. However, I'm watching you talk about your music and the process, and dude, you're lighting up, man. Like you're like have the biggest smile on your face, and you're talking about the creative process, and like that is why you do what you do.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what you were saying earlier, is you have to love it. It has to be from the heart. Like it has to be something that you're passionate about, because that's when the best art comes, and that's the most healing part. While you were talking about that, I can tell you weren't thinking about anything else.
No.
It was the process, and it was like, oh my God, I love this. And that's what creating and doing art through music can do for people who are dealing with stuff. It brings that happiness. Yeah, it might last for, you might go back to this or that, but in the moment when you're creating and you're proud of yourself and you're putting something out, like there really isn't anything better than that, man.
So if whatever you do creatively, whether you're an artist or you're a musician, or even if you're a professional wrestler, if you're not your own biggest fan, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
You got to be your own biggest fan. Like I love my songs. I love my songs. I listen to them all the time. And that's why I make them. Yeah. I make them because I want to listen to them. Yeah. I want it to be something I get excited to listen to all the time. That's why you create. And
all that is reason enough for everybody who might be thinking about picking up an instrument and writing a song one day or recording something one day. It's for these moments of happiness and personal satisfaction to be proud of yourself, and
yes.
To at least make the dark times not as dark for a little bit, at least.
Exactly.
Because every little bit helps.
And that sense of accomplishment and that personal satisfaction, like you just said, that's like immense. Because like this is, I wrote this song 3 years ago, but we're talking about it today. It's something it lasts the test of time. You know what I mean? Like that's the beautiful thing about creating something, is you could have something tangible that you could be like, I made this. I made that. That song is my child. I made that.
I mean, so many people have a dream one day of recording a song, recording an album, and you've done that, and you've used your personal struggles as that you can listen to every day and be like, you know what? Even though I was going through this, and that, I created this.
Yeah.
And no one can take that from me.
Yeah.
No one. It's going to be there forever.
Thank you.
And that's the beauty of music, and that's why music to me and to you and pretty much anybody listening, that's what music means. And it's more than lyrics and instruments. It's life. It's real. It's it's something that will last forever. Well, Mikey, thank you so much, man, for sharing your story. I know talking about this stuff is not easy. It takes way more courage to talk to somebody who you don't know at all about some of your most personal stuff. And I appreciate you opening up with me on this podcast. And
thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it very much. Thank you so much.
And if anybody wants to find you, wants to listen to Struggle City or any of your other music or your other projects, where can they find that at?
You can find me literally everywhere: Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Amazon, SoundCloud, Deezer, Tidal, whatever all those other places are. Instagram I'm on Facebook, I'm on TikTok.
And it's primarily all just Mykey Massacre.
All Mykey Massacre. You make sure it's with a Y though. It's Mykey, and then the word massacre. And you type that in on Google, you type it in anywhere, and I should come up. I'm a guy with long hair with shaved sides and a leather studded jacket. If you're seeing the podcast and you don't know
who also looks really buff and in great shape.
Oh, thank you.
Because all that gym, man. All that gym.
I appreciate it.
And guitar shredding. It's all paying off, dude. Trust me.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah. That's the best arm workout you can
There
get.
you go. Thanks for listening to Heavy Mental Breakdown tonight, everyone. Please just remember, you matter, and keep listening to music, because it gets you through everything. I promise. My favorite quote from Mitch Lucker. Rest in peace, my brother. Everyone, have a great night. See you next time. Goodbye.